Excellence is not something you stumble upon. It is not an accident. And it is certainly not the result of one single decision made in a moment of inspiration. Excellence is a way of living, a daily commitment, a continuous pattern that shapes who you become. Far too often, people believe that success is tied to one breakthrough, one lucky opportunity, or one grand performance that sets everything in motion. But the truth is much simpler and far more demanding. Real success is built in the quiet repetition of small disciplines, practiced day after day until they form the very fabric of your life. Think about the people you admire most, those who seem to live at a higher standard. It wasn't one act that made them excellent. It was the consistency of their actions. Excellence is about showing up when no one is watching, doing your best work when no applause is guaranteed, and maintaining your standards even when it would be easier to compromise. The world often sees the spotlight moment, but what it doesn't see is the hours, the effort, the sacrifice, and the steady practice that led to that moment. The challenge with excellence is that it demands patience. In a world addicted to quick rewards, the idea of daily discipline feels inconvenient. But life does not reward convenience. It rewards commitment. You don't become healthy with one workout, wealthy with one decision, or wise with one book. It takes sustained effort repeated over time to build a life of value. Excellence is not about intensity for a day. It's about consistency for a lifetime. Every day offers you an opportunity to practice this art. It may not look glamorous. Excellence often looks like waking up early when you want to sleep in, finishing a project when others quit halfway, or listening with full attention when it would be easier to be distracted. These small choices may feel insignificant in the moment, but they accumulate into a reputation, a character, and eventually a destiny. Consider this: your life today is largely the result of your habits yesterday, and your life tomorrow will be determined by the habits you choose today. If your daily standard is low, your outcomes will reflect that. But if your daily standard is high, if you choose excellence in the small things, then opportunities and results will inevitably follow. People notice when you live with consistency, when your word can be trusted, when your effort does not depend on mood but on principle. Excellence is not perfection. It does not mean you will never make mistakes or stumble. What it means is that you commit to showing up and giving your best regardless of the circumstances. Even in failure, excellence is present because it is found in the effort, the persistence, and the refusal to lower your standards. The beauty of daily excellence is that it compounds. One day of effort may not change your life, but 100 days, 1,000 days, a decade of effort, those create mastery. Just like drops of water carve stone over time, your daily commitment carves your character and shapes your future. Success is not found in a single decision, but in the discipline of many small, invisible ones. What you must remember is that excellence is attractive. It draws people to you. Employers trust it, friends respect it, and leaders depend on it. The opportunities you are looking for are more likely to come when you have proven through your habits that you can be trusted to deliver. Excellence speaks louder than ambition because it demonstrates who you are, not just what you desire. So, never underestimate the power of today. You don't have to change everything at once. Start with one small commitment, one discipline, one act of excellence, and then repeat it tomorrow. Over time, those actions will build a momentum so strong that they become your natural way of living. At that point, excellence will no longer feel like a demand. It will feel like your identity. In the end, life does not reward those who do great things once. It rewards those who do the right things consistently. One act of excellence may win applause, but a lifestyle of excellence builds a legacy. And when you master this truth, that excellence is a daily habit, not a one-time event, you will no longer chase success. Success will find you because you have become the kind of person who attracts it. Ladies and gentlemen, if you ask me, what is the single quality that separates those who dream from those who achieve? I would answer without hesitation: discipline. Talent is wonderful. Intelligence is powerful. Opportunity is valuable, but without discipline, all of them are wasted. Discipline is the foundation upon which achievement is built. Discipline is not about punishment. It is about alignment, aligning your actions with your goals. aligning your daily choices with the future you want to create. Every one of us has dreams. We all imagine a better life, a better business, a better body, a better future, but the bridge between the life you imagine and the life you live is discipline. Without it, dreams remain in the realm of fantasy. With it, they become reality. Think about it, the difference between someone who wants to be fit and someone who is fit is discipline. The difference between someone who wishes for financial independence and someone who achieves it is discipline. The difference between an average performer and an excellent one is rarely talent. It is the discipline to practice longer, to study harder, to persist when others quit. Discipline is what keeps you showing up when motivation has disappeared. Motivation is fleeting. It comes and goes with your mood, your environment, your energy. But discipline is steady, constant, dependable. It is the habit that tells you, even if I don't feel like it today, I will still do what must be done. That decision, repeated daily, shapes your destiny more than any stroke of luck or moment of inspiration. Here is the truth: the achievement is not glamorous in the moment. It looks ordinary, even boring. It looks like waking up early when you'd rather sleep. It looks like saying no to the distraction when everyone else says yes. It looks like studying while your friends are playing, or saving when everyone else is spending. But when those small acts of discipline accumulate, they create extraordinary results that others call luck or talent. Discipline also builds trust, first with yourself and then with others. When you practice discipline, you prove to yourself that you can keep promises. You told yourself you'd exercise, and you did. You told yourself you'd read, and you did. You told yourself you'd save money, and you did. Every time you follow through, you strengthen your belief in yourself. And when others watch you live with discipline, they trust you too. They know you are dependable, consistent, and reliable, qualities that open doors in business, leadership, and relationships. Some people say discipline is restrictive, but the truth is the opposite. Discipline is freedom. It gives you freedom from regret, freedom from chaos, freedom from the pain of wasted potential. When you master discipline, you are not controlled by your moods, your cravings, or your laziness. You become free to pursue what matters most because you are no longer a prisoner to what is easy. Now, discipline doesn't mean perfection. You will stumble, you will miss a day, you will fall short. But discipline is not about never falling. It's about rising quickly when you do. It is the habit of returning to your standard again and again until your standard becomes your identity. So how do you build discipline? Start small. Start with one area of your life. If you want to exercise, begin with 10 minutes a day. If you want to read, commit to 5 pages a day. If you want to save money, start with $1 a day. The size of the action is not what matters. What matters is the consistency. Because once discipline takes root in one area, it grows into others. In the end, life will ask you a simple question: did you live up to your potential? And your answer will not be determined by your dreams, your intentions, or your feelings. It will be determined by your discipline. So remember, this discipline is not something you practice only when it's convenient. Discipline is what makes the inconvenient worthwhile. It is the quiet force that turns goals into achievements, potential into performance, and vision into reality. Discipline is the foundation of achievement. Build your life on it, and there will be no limit to what you can create. Focus is the great separator between those who dabble in life and those who master it. Every single one of us is given the same 24 hours a day, the same chance to decide how to spend our energy, our time, and our attention. The difference between mediocrity and greatness is not usually found in talent, luck, or even resources. It's found in the power of focus. Because while effort is important, the quality of your effort depends entirely on where it is directed. Many people work hard but remain stuck. They put in the hours, they sweat, they struggle, but they never seem to move forward. Why? Because their energy is scattered. They are busy but not productive. They chase too many things at once and wonder why they never master any of them. The truth is, life rewards depth, not shallowness. A laser beam can cut through steel because it is concentrated energy. In the same way, your life gains power when your focus is directed instead of diffused. Distractions today are endless. Your phone buzzes, notifications pop up, opportunities come knocking, and before you know it, your attention is divided into 1,000 tiny fragments. And fragmented attention cannot produce excellence. Excellence requires immersion, giving your best energy to what matters most, shutting out the noise, and diving deeply into meaningful work. The mind that is constantly switching from one thing to another never enters the state of flow where true progress is made. Focus also clarifies your direction. Without it, you might be working hard but climbing the wrong ladder. It's not enough to move fast. You must be moving in the right direction. Focus allows you to ask, what truly matters right now? What is worth my best effort? When you answer those questions honestly, you begin aligning your actions with your purpose. And that alignment is where fulfillment is found. Another truth about focus is that it demands sacrifice. To say yes to one thing is to say no to many others. You cannot give your best to everything at once. Excellence is selective. You must decide what is essential and let go of the rest. This is difficult because it requires discipline and sometimes disappointing others. But every great achievement in history came from someone who was willing to narrow their focus, who was willing to trade scattered business for concentrated mastery. Think of the difference between a person who tries to learn 5 skills at once versus the one who dedicates themselves to mastering one. The first may have shallow knowledge in many areas, but the second builds expertise, credibility, and impact. The world rewards the focused individual because they are rare. Most people drift from one interest to another, dabbling without depth. But the focused person carves out value that others cannot ignore. Focus also multiplies time. When you are truly focused, you accomplish in 1 hour what might take others 3 or 4. Not because you're faster, but because you are not distracted. Your mind, your energy, and your effort are aligned. That's why the most productive people are not always the busiest. They are the most focused. They work in concentrated bursts of excellence, leaving behind results that compound over time. And here is the beautiful thing: focus is not just about achievement, it is about peace of mind. A scattered life feels chaotic, restless, and stressful. But when you live with focus, you experience clarity and calm. You know what matters, and you give yourself permission to let go of the rest. That inner clarity is worth more than gold because it gives you not only productivity, but also fulfillment. At the end of the day, the world doesn't reward you for how much effort you spent, but for the results your effort produced. And the results will always be determined by your focus. You can't afford to spread yourself thin. You can't afford to let your attention be stolen by every distraction that waves at you. Decide what matters most, devote yourself to it daily, and let everything else fade into the background. Focus is the secret ingredient that transforms hard work into meaningful progress. It is the discipline of channeling your energy toward the essential, the courage to say no to the trivial, and the wisdom to stay the course even when distractions abound. When you master focus, you multiply the power of your effort, you accelerate your growth, and you set yourself apart in a world where so many are lost in the noise. Focus determines the quality of your effort, and the quality of your effort determines the quality of your life. Choose wisely, guard your attention, and live with focus. Personal responsibility is the cornerstone of growth and achievement. You can inherit wealth, you can borrow knowledge, you can even lean on someone else's encouragement for a time, but you cannot delegate the responsibility of your own life. No one else can do your push-ups, no one else can write your journal, no one else can develop your discipline. The world may offer you tools, but it is your hand that must use them. The truth is, the weight of your life belongs only to you, and the sooner you embrace that, the stronger and freer you will become. It is tempting to look around and blame circumstances for where you are. It is easy to say you were not given the right chances, the right parents, the right opportunities. But responsibility doesn't ask what you were given, it asks what you will do with what you have. Some of the greatest achievers in history started with nothing but a will to rise. Others started with much but wasted it because they never accepted responsibility. Success does not bow to excuses, it bows to ownership. The beautiful thing about responsibility is that it is both a burden and a gift. At first, it feels heavy because it strips away every excuse. You can no longer hide behind other people's choices or circumstances or luck. But that same weight becomes empowering, because once you accept that your life is in your hands, you also realize your future is in your control. You are no longer a victim of the winds of chance. You are the captain of your own ship. Daily excellence is built on this principle. Nobody else can practice for you, study for you, or train for you. A coach can guide you, but they cannot sweat for you. A mentor can inspire you, but they cannot think for you. A leader can show you the path, but they cannot walk it for you. Your results are always tied to your choices, and every day you are writing the story of your future with the pen of your actions. When you fully embrace personal responsibility, you also begin to raise your standards. Instead of asking, "What can I get away with?" you begin asking, "What is the best I can give?" Instead of cutting corners, you build character. Instead of living reactively, you start living proactively. Responsibility transforms the way you think about time, energy, and relationships. It makes you careful with your words, intentional with your actions, and deliberate about the company you keep. Responsibility is also the great equalizer. You and I may not have the same resources, the same talents, or the same background, but we all wake up with the same 24 hours. What you do with those hours is your responsibility. That is the one currency every human being is given equally, and it is spent whether you like it or not. The only question is, did you spend it building your life, or did you spend it waiting for someone else to do the building for you? Excellence, then, is not an accident. It is a decision you make daily to own your choices, own your discipline, and own your results. And the rewards of responsibility are undeniable. It creates confidence because you know you've done the work. It creates trust because others see that you are dependable. It creates opportunities because the world rewards those who consistently show up with ownership and accountability. Responsibility, in short, is the key that unlocks both personal freedom and lasting success. So stop waiting for someone to come and rescue you. Stop waiting for perfect conditions or for others to hand you a life of excellence. No one can live it for you. No one can take your steps, speak your words, or fight your battles. This is your life, your art, your responsibility. And if you choose today to take full ownership of it, the road of excellence opens wide before you. The weight may feel heavy at first, but in carrying it, you will grow stronger than you ever imagined. Personal responsibility cannot be delegated. It must be lived. Your standards shape your outcomes. You may have goals, dreams, and desires, but in the end, it is your standards that decide what you actually achieve. Goals are like wishes on paper, but standards are the rules you live by daily. If your standards are weak, your outcomes will be weak. If your standards are high, your life will naturally rise to meet them. You don't get what you want. You get what you're willing to demand from yourself. Think about it. Everyone wants to be healthy, but not everyone sets the standard of daily exercise and disciplined eating. Everyone wants financial freedom, but not everyone sets the standard of saving, investing, and controlling their spending. Everyone wants fulfilling relationships, but not everyone sets the standard of communication, respect, and consistent effort. The difference between those who only dream and those who achieve lies in the standards they refuse to compromise. A standard is not a wish, it's a boundary. It's the invisible line that says, this is the least I am willing to accept for myself. When you raise your standards, you raise your life. You no longer tolerate excuses, laziness, or mediocrity. You begin to act differently, think differently, and even attract different results, simply because your standards refuse to let you settle for less. The world will always test your standards. Distractions, setbacks, and temptations will come, but your standards are the anchor. If you have weak standards, you'll drift with every wave of difficulty. But if your standards are strong, you will stand firm, no matter how tough the storm. Excellence isn't about perfection. It's about refusing to drop your standards when life challenges you. Raising your standards is not a one-time declaration. It is a daily practice. You don't say, from today, I'll have discipline and expect instant results. You prove it to yourself through repeated action. Every morning, you choose to live by your standards or abandon them. Every night your results reveal which choice you made. Your standards are like a mirror. They reflect back the truth of how you lived, whether you honored your values or betrayed them. Here's the truth. You cannot outperform your standards. You may get lucky once or twice, but eventually life settles back to the level of what you consistently demand from yourself. If your standard is to always show up on time, you'll build a reputation for reliability. If your standard is to always give your best effort, people will trust your work. If your standard is to never quit on your goals, you will achieve more than those who give up at the first sign of difficulty. And remember, your standards not only affect you, they influence the people around you. Your family, your team, your friends, they all measure their actions, consciously or unconsciously, against the standard you live by. If you live with high standards, you inspire others to raise theirs. If you lower your standards, you give everyone around you permission to settle. Leadership, at its core, is simply the act of holding yourself to a higher standard and inviting others to do the same. Excellence is not a secret formula. It is the result of standards lived out every single day. When you hold yourself to high standards, even when nobody is watching, you build integrity. When you keep those standards through challenges, you build resilience. And when you refuse to compromise them in pursuit of comfort, you build character. These are the invisible rewards that eventually manifest in visible success. So ask yourself, what standards are guiding my life right now? Do I have standards that push me toward excellence, or have I been living with standards that keep me stuck in mediocrity? If you don't like your outcomes, don't blame your goals. Examine your standards. Because life will always give you what your standards demand, not what your wishes request. Raise your standards today. Hold yourself to the level of the life you want, not the level of the life you're settling for. Refuse to compromise on discipline, focus, and responsibility. Build the habit of excellence in small daily actions. Do this long enough, and you won't need to chase success. It will find you, because you've become the kind of person who naturally attracts it. Your standards shape your outcomes, and your outcomes shape your destiny. Decide today to live by higher standards, and you will create a future that reflects not only your goals, but the best version of who you are. Excellence is one of the most powerful magnets in life. It doesn't shout, it doesn't beg, and it doesn't chase. It simply attracts. When you choose to live with a standard of excellence in everything you do, from the smallest task to the largest responsibility, you send a message to the world: this is who I am, and that message is impossible to ignore. Excellence builds credibility, and credibility is the currency of trust. People naturally want to be around, work with, and invest in those who demonstrate consistent excellence. Opportunity rarely knocks on random doors. It looks for addresses where preparation, consistency, and quality are already in place. When you show up on time, deliver more than expected, and carry yourself with integrity, doors begin to open. Not because you demanded them, but because excellence positioned you in the right place at the right time. People recommend those who do great work. Employers promote those who maintain high standards. Clients return to those who consistently deliver. Excellence, therefore, becomes a form of silent marketing. It speaks louder than words, louder than promises, and louder than excuses. Think about the people you trust most. Why do you trust them? Most likely because they have proven themselves reliable. They show up when they say they will. They give their best effort. They don't cut corners. That's what excellence looks like. It is not perfection, it's consistency in character and performance. And that consistency builds respect. Respect is never demanded, it is earned. It's the natural fruit of living by a higher standard than the average person is willing to accept. Respect is not limited to professional life. Even in relationships, excellence attracts. When you treat people with kindness, when you listen carefully, when you honor your commitments, people notice. You become someone worth respecting because you've chosen to carry yourself in a way that elevates both you and others. Excellence has a multiplying effect. When you live with excellence, you don't just raise your own standards. You raise the standards of those around you. Others are inspired, challenged, and encouraged to step up their own game. That is the hidden influence of excellence. The opposite is also true. Mediocrity repels opportunity, carelessness destroys trust, excuses push people away. When someone consistently delivers poor work, misses deadlines, or lacks discipline, people stop relying on them. They stop recommending them. They stop trusting them. Opportunities flow toward reliability and away from negligence. This is why excellence is not just about personal pride. It's a strategy for life. It ensures that you are not overlooked when the next big chance arises. Excellence is also a form of self-respect. When you decide to give your best effort regardless of circumstances, you build confidence in yourself. You no longer need external applause because you already know you've done your best. That inner confidence radiates outward and makes people take you seriously. People respect those who clearly respect themselves enough to demand excellence from their own actions. Now, excellence does not mean perfection, and it does not mean overworking yourself to exhaustion. It means showing up with focused discipline and integrity. It means paying attention to details others ignore. It means doing what you promise, even when it's inconvenient. Over time, this consistent way of living becomes your reputation. And reputation is like a shadow that follows you everywhere. It enters the room before you do. When your reputation is built on excellence, opportunities almost seem to chase you. The world is full of talent, but talent alone doesn't guarantee success. Talent without discipline leads to wasted potential. Talent without consistency produces disappointment. But talent paired with daily excellence becomes unstoppable. It is not the most talented who are always rewarded. It is often those who are dependable, trustworthy, and excellent at what they do day in and day out. Excellence attracts not just professional opportunities, but also meaningful relationships. People want to connect with those who inspire them, those who set high standards, and those who bring out the best in others. When you live with excellence, you become a magnet for like-minded individuals who share those values. Together, you build partnerships, friendships, and teams that thrive on mutual respect. At the end of the day, opportunities will come and go, but your character remains. Respect, once earned, is one of the greatest treasures of life, and it is earned through a daily commitment to excellence. Every task, every interaction, every decision is a chance to either raise or lower your standard. When you consistently choose excellence, you won't need to chase success. Opportunity and respect will come find you. Excellence is not an act, it is an identity. Make it your standard, and you'll discover that the world has a way of rewarding those who live it out consistently. Your life becomes the proof, your work becomes the evidence, and your reputation becomes the invitation. Live with excellence and watch opportunity and respect flow naturally into your path.